In part 2 of this tutorial series, we're going to be covering how to route multiple instruments from Reason into Logic Pro and how to bounce their audio independently from one another. Let's start by opening up Logic. Create an empty project, and let's go ahead and create an external Midi track. Let's create a second one as well. Now let's open up Logic's mixer and create two auxiliary channels. The first one will be routed to Reason's mix left-right channel, which is actually channels 1 and 2. Let's route our second auxiliary channel to Reason's channels 3 and 4. And let's go ahead and rename those right away. Alright, now that we got that out of the way, let's open up Reason. We're going to be creating two instrument tracks. As I'm creating this bass track, I'm going to be holding Shift to make sure that Reason doesn't automatically connect my device. And I'll create a piano track as well. Alright, now by clicking Tab, we have access to the back panel, and as you can see, both our devices are not connected. The only thing we have connected is Reason's master section, which we'll be disconnecting. So let's go ahead and route those to their appropriate channels, 1 and 2, and piano goes into 3 and 4. Alright, now that we got that done, let's go back into Logic, close the mixer, open up the library, and connect our external Midi tracks. First one's going to be acoustic bass rig, and second one's going to be 62 Detroit upright. The last thing we need to do to make sure we're getting sound is to bring our volume faders up to unity gain. A quick way to do this is to hold Alt and click the faders, and they'll automatically be set to 0. Now, let's go ahead and test it out. Piano's working. Bass is working as well. Now, if you ever have the problem of having both of these instruments triggered at the same time, what you need to know is that it's not coming from Logic, it's actually coming from Reason, because your Midi USB controller will actually be triggering sounds in both applications at the same time. The easiest way to get around this is to go into Reason's preferences, control surfaces, and under input port, you should have your device listed, and all you'll have to do is disable it. I've already gone ahead and done this, but doing this will basically disable both tracks from triggering at the same time. So, to get working, let's go ahead and record a little sample track. Let's start with the bass. Alright, let's quantize that to make sure it falls on the beat. There we go. And let's record the piano. Alright, let's quantize that real quick. Perfect. So, if you're planning to have Logic and Reason running simultaneously for the entirety of your project, you won't have to go any further. However, if you want to make your workflow more efficient, I seriously recommend bouncing your audio tracks from Reason into Logic Pro. The reason I do this is simply to avoid having to open up Reason each time I open up Logic. If ever I need to make any modifications down the line, I can always open up Reason and I'll always have my MIDI tracks. So, there are really two ways to go about doing this. The first way would simply be to use your stereo outputs bounce feature, which can be quite time consuming because you're going to have to solo out each track independently and record them one at a time. Now I'm going to be showing you guys a method to record all your tracks at the same time independently from one another. So to go about doing this, we need to create two audio tracks. Alright, and since I usually work with these, let's go ahead and label them with some icons and rename them right away. The next thing we need to do is open up Logic's mixer once more, and we're going to be creating a bus channel for each auxiliary channel. So let's route auxiliary 1 and 2 to bus number 1, and let's route auxiliary 3 and 4 to bus number 2. Let's go ahead and rename those. Now that we're done, let's go ahead and route our audio channels to their respective buses. So, bass is going to be this one. And before we route our piano track, let's go ahead and set it to stereo. Now let's route it to bus number 2. Alright, now if I hit play, you guys will notice that there won't be any sound coming out of these audio channels. That's because we need to both record enable these channels and enable monitoring. Now if we hit play again, we should have some sound coming into our audio channels. And there you have it. The last thing we need to do to bounce these tracks is simply hit record. And there you have it. If I mute my external MIDI tracks and close Reason, we'll still be hearing both our tracks. And that's all there is to it. If you enjoyed this tutorial series and you'd like to see more, consider subscribing to my channel. I'll be posting content like this regularly. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. Until then, thanks for watching.